Hey guys, welcome back to another installation of this video interview sort of, I hate to use the word interview really, it's just a conversation between a lot of jig heads and some of the favorite guests that we've had on Jigs and Bigs. And it's sort of like a component to go above and carry the conversation even further. And this week we are lucky enough to have with us the one and only Adventure Titties herself. We got Rachel Mullins in the house with us. Rachel, I'll tell you what, folks reacted to your episode. Your episode recently was in August, I think we talked last.
Yeah, right? It was a while back. It was
a little ways back. People really reacted to your show. Like that episode specifically has gotten a lot of listens. So you're
really?
On the radar. Yeah,
that's
100%. Very cool. I think people like the fact that they're like, that you could kind of play the coin at both ends because you've got that northern Midwest roots, fishing in the outdoors and stuff, but also like the saltwater and the more tropical environment down in Florida, like you've kind of got all bases covered. Plus the fact is, let's be honest, you're entertaining as hell. So.
The lore is never ending.
100%. I do. I feel like some of the Adventure Titties camp really sort of like migrated and discovered Jigs and Bigs. I'm sure we were not the cup of tea some of them were expecting, but some of them I feel like we for sure were, which is awesome.
Definitely.
I think that's great. Hopefully they found some, and hopefully our listeners have now started tuning into your live streams and stuff. I have a feeling that's the case, but we gotta get into this right away. You said something about Adventure Titties fighting crime. Like, are you like
That's
McGruff now? What's going on?
You would think so. No, I call it recreational litigation. But the thing is that because of the never-ending Adventure Titties lore,
sure.
I spent a lot of time in Hollywood, and I still go back and forth on like a bi-coast, like a locale bi-coastal situation.
Yep.
And I worked on the Ron Jeremy trial.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. But I took a Jane Doe status on that. So I hadn't talked about it until like now, basically.
Wow.
And the crazy part about that is that was back in like 2021. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in that testimony for the grand jury, I named my old roommate, Dave Pierce.
Mm-hmm.
Like for the record, spelled his name and everything. In addition to, speaking of music, Ralph Rickerman, the drummer of the Scorpions, who's a lovely man and is at every party.
Nice.
But yeah, but he kind of came in like at a later situation. But like a year after that, my phone starts blowing up around Thanksgiving.
Yep.
And people are like, isn't this your old roommate from back in the day? Because there's still pictures of me and him at the Playboy Mansion from 2010 or something, a long time ago. And everybody's like buzzing about this. And I was busy doing Adventure Titties things. My aunt was in town, running around a boat, doing the stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, whatever he's being accused of, he did it. He absolutely did it. But he murdered 2 women. He snatched them out of a warehouse, drugged them. He still lived in the same place that I lived when we were roommates.
Oh, wow.
Drugged them and then dumped their bodies at separate hospitals. After he took the plates off of his Prius. As a good Samaritan.
Yep.
And then the floodgates opened of all of the prior like date rape cases that he had.
Oh my God.
Lodged against him that the prosecutor, the district attorney's office, so that like the head prosecutor in LA never did anything with. So we spent 4 years in total, 3 years getting to trial, and then a year between the conviction and sentencing.
Yep.
And it took an army of us to like end his 30+ year crime spree. But I had been saving receipts since like 2009 because he was a shithead back then.
Sure.
And I could have never like fathomed how bad it was going to get.
Yeah. Yep.
But it did. It got worse. But we finally got his ass.
No shit.
And sentencing was October 29th. I went back to LA for it. And that, like, you don't meet anybody else besides law enforcement and the, assistant U.S. attorneys.
Yep.
Until the end. And like, I met his sister that I didn't know existed. Like, I knew his mom and I didn't know that he had a sister.
No shit.
And then one of the other victims was sitting next to me, and apparently he raped her back in 2010, and it like could have been when I lived there. Like we might have brushed
my God.
past. Yes, back in the day. So I did tons and tons of press. Like we had a full press conference after the sentencing in front of the district attorney's office.
Yeah.
And then thankfully my longtime wonderful publicist, Kelly Springer, did I did an interview with an exclusive with the UK and an exclusive with the Sun to really hash the story out. But it's my content on Adventure Titties kind of suffered in that time because it takes a lot.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
To do a sentencing hearing, and you can't talk about it until it's done.
That's exactly it. You're sort of like they've got you on a gag order until everything's all wrapped up. That is bananas.
Yeah.
And you kind of nailed something there when you're like, oh, I didn't realize how bad it was. Like you knew what was going on, but like it's you really don't know about this shit. Like just this summer. No, I take that back. It was actually, when this went down, it was right about when your episode dropped. So locally, right? I've told you about what I do for a job, right? I host trivia game shows and stuff.
Oh yeah, I know that part. Yes.
So that's what I do, and I have an entertainment company, and let me give you a little bit of backup story. So there is when I try to say this as gently as I can, but like there is a type of person who eats this trivia shit up. And generally speaking, they are somewhere on the spectrum, and
they're special interest.
Part of the reason is that like they really do exceed as far as being like really quick with like a lot of facts. And I met these two dudes. This is a few years ago, probably like 2021, 22. They had started playing, and they used to call themselves the Horny Leprechauns. And these guys, they rolled in, and it was at this sports bar in this like super liberal town where I do this one game. And they come in, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna, I was like, these guys are gonna figure out the rules, and if they become regulars, everybody in this room is fucked. Because they're gonna kill it. And they did. They're really, really clever, but they're dicks. You know what I mean? They're just absolute pieces of shit. They're terrible to the fucking staff, all kinds of shit. There's always these issues. Like they're awful. Like they're just really, really, and like creepy too. You know what I mean? Like they would go and like chat up all the other teams, like specifically one of them, this one guy. But out of the two, he was the one that I assumed was harmless. All right. Well, fast forward a few years. This one guy's following me around all over the place. I got some crazy stories about this, but one of the things about my job is that like locally, I know so many people and the dots are all crazy connected. Like it's nuts. I was launching a brand new Monday night series and I'm there. I'm just about to start round one and I get a text from one of my regular players who's been playing with me for like a decade. She's the best. She works in law enforcement. She's a dispatcher. And she says, hey, you should know about this. Remember that weird guy that played at these venues? And she's seen him there before. And we've had conversations. She's like, there's something weird about this guy. Like, I go, yeah, but I got to kind of treat the whole situation with like kid hands and stuff. And I know there was one team specifically in the past. These women are much older and out of his league. But like he would just have conversations with them. I think he took a liking to one of them and it was just sketchy. You know what I mean? It was like, but it's so hard to tell. Is this like a social like disconnect or what, so again, like you just kind of have to watch and see if anything, like if there's a line crossed or anything. Well, come to find out, this little son of a bitch attacked a woman in a local town recently. Right. This woman was on a jog and he grabbed her. He was the whole thing happened on fucking camera, like a surveillance camera, the whole fucking thing. Like he is toast. Anyway, what happened was so this whole thing went down. As soon as the dispatcher, as soon as she saw the mugshot, she was like, I know who this is. And she's like, I got to tell Bobby. I got to tell him because he's got to let the other women know at these other places that like, hey, this guy is a problem. You know what I mean? Like this is an issue. So she tells me and I was like, I say to her, I was like, I actually need all the information, like everything. And I go, and here's why. 3 months prior-ish, 3, maybe 4 months prior, this guy, he's always had an issue like holding down a job. and I know why, because they're,
now you know.
It's all HR problems, and he's just a bad fit everywhere he goes. So he says to me, he's like, oh yeah, I just had this job interview. He's like, I'm trying to get into this one school system, and it's a regional school, and it's where my youngest daughter attends. So the next day I'm on the phone with the principal. This is in the summer, and I'm like, hey, just want to make sure. I know you guys did a bunch of new hires and stuff, and you just announced that new list of welcome was coming through. I need to make sure that this name is not on it, and here's the mugshot of that individual, and I'm glad to share the story with you. But I go, I don't want to get my source for this information in any kind of hot water. Now it's all public. Now all the hearings have started.
Yeah, it's
everything
public
else,
record, yeah.
it's all public record, so I can say whatever. And I'm like, yeah, it's all good, So yeah, I guess apparently his initial hearing was set for late October, and it got pushed back to later this month. So who knows? But it is just wild. And then so again, as I would talk to players, they would ask, because I banned them at all my games. So this happened on a Monday. That following Thursday was the regular spot I expected him to show up at. He 100% did with his buddies. Here's the kicker, Rachel. He never had this conversation with the other guy that he started playing with way back when. That's his roommate. He had no idea. I was like, yeah, tonight's not a good night, guys. And he says, what are you talking about? There's plenty of seats. I was like, Monis, I know what happened on Saturday night. And he didn't even react oh, you don't understand. There was a big misunderstanding, blah, 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 blah. Nothing. He looked at me like he saw a ghost, because he didn't realize that everybody knows the beef, and that the streets talk to the beef,
That's right.
That's exactly it. And I'm like, yeah, I was like, don't come back to any of my games. So the next day, I had already blocked him on social media and shit and everything. Come to find out, as far as the school, I'll put a cap on that because that's important. The principal was like, we never interviewed this guy, which is even more crazy. Why would he tell me that? He didn't know where my daughter went to school. He had no idea that there was that. You know what I mean? It's so weird. So I want to put a screenplay together, man, because I think I have makings of a great dark comedy here.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
But that's the thing, though, is that they hide stuff from certain people that they know it won't fly with, but they're all about it with people that they feel that would be safe and welcoming to those behaviors.
Oh yeah.
And it's some weirdos, man. There's just such a bumper crop of them that it really does take everybody to corral the situation.
Totally.
But that's the thing, though, is when you're out in the streets talk back to you, and thank God, because there's crusty urchins out there.
I was like, you've got to be, and I mean, to be completely honest, if I had to say which one of these guys is a creep, it would have been his roommate, not the one that actually got arrested. So it's you just never really know somebody until everything's kind of gone through that rinse cycle, Well,
and we're not allowed to know or assume or anything until it's documented and blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
The Epstein's files and blah, blah, all of this nonsense of we have plenty of people to talk about it. There's a lot of people dead in that scenario, but we have plenty of people to talk about it. Sure. We don't need to the government doesn't need to do anything.
No.
We already have the information straight from the source. Yeah. It's not that complicated.
Yeah, exactly. It's the thing is there's this thing where it's and it is shitty because you really if you're in a situation where you're dealing with making a decision about an individual, you're kind of fuck, I can't tell them not, again, same thing, a follow-up to that is, since a lot of players now are aware of what's going on, some folks have been sharing shitty things about other people with me, and I'm like, you guys need to understand, I can't just say, hey, you're a piece of shit, don't come to my games. I go, this was a legal thing. There was proof. Yeah. You know what I mean? This happened. And I'm like, that's where there's a threshold. I'm like, just because so-and-so is a Giants fan, I can't tell, you know what I mean? Or whatever. I can't do that. It doesn't work that way. Just because you guys had a falling out, you were dating or something. I'm like, oh man, that's shitty. I'm like, but shitty people do shitty things, It's when it becomes when there's a fucking hate crime involved or something. Yeah, that's when I'm going to put my foot down. You know what I mean? And I'm like, it's really, really difficult to be in that decision-making position, and it's fucked. It really is. Weird. What a weird way to start this fucking but I love it.
You wanted the crazy kooky. Here she is.
Wow. I'm here for it though. I'm 100% here for it. So what else have you been up to lately? Like, what's the last few months? I feel like you've been really, obviously, aside with like the court stuff and everything, I feel like you've been around and you've been busy.
Oh, massively. So, the other, like September, I was off fly fishing in North Carolina.
Yep.
I was at Meraki and like shooting a bunch of things for TikTok and booking.com, which was amazing and fabulous and perfect.
That's such a good gig.
And then literally drove home from that, and Starburst delivered my new Jeep to me for my 4-month campaign.
That's amazing.
I know, right? It's crazy. So I've been starbursting across the land. Mm-hmm. And I had to get a warehouse space because they sent me 30 pallets of Starburst goodies to give away. And I give away 2 pallets a week, which is a lot.
That's a whole lot. You got to lug this stuff around?
4,000 individual bags.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a massive promotional effort. Like, I assume, is this new for them? Or
it's that product, yes, that is new for them.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's wild. Yeah. So you and I had chatted a little while ago. Speaking of Starburst, and I was like, so you know where I am. The pink Starburst is 100% like the alpha. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's 100%. I feel like, generally speaking, that's like the mass like opinion of most people. What's the other color that people are just like, no, this is the one? Like, what's the one that people try to combat that with? If you've even run into this before.
Maybe orange. So the Starburst goodies are different. There is a bag that's the Flav Red, so that's kind of like the red varieties.
Yeah.
And then there's the originals, which is closer to like a traditional
like
Starburst.
The original, yeah.
But they're all plant-based. They're only 90 calories and they're 8 grams of sugar, so it's like a way healthier alternative.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a mixed bag as far as the goodies go. Like, people are like, "Yay, the pink! I want the pink bag! I want the pink bag!" And then other people are like, "No, I actually like the variety better."
Yeah.
So
it's not a bad idea.
It's kind of split. But the city of Jacksonville invited me to do the city's trunk or treat at Friendship Fountain.
Oh, that's cool.
And they told all the vendors, "Yeah, it's going to be like 400 kids." It was not 400 kids. It was like 3,000 people.
Oh,
and
shit.
I was the only one that showed up with like a pallet and a half of product.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So they've been sprinkled across the land.
Yeah.
And it's completely gave me this like fantastic relationship with the city of Jacksonville and the Park Service, because now they're like, "Come to the ice rink, do our sponsorships for that. Come do this." Like, they want trailers of candy from Mars for Easter and for Halloween.
That's great.
Just on a rotation.
That's awesome. That's great. And that's awesome. Keeps you busy. You know what I mean? And it's
massively.
That's awesome.
Like, it's an all day, every day thing. If I'm not doing an event, I'm at the warehouse, like trying to maintain that situation.
Oh, yeah.
And then like I have other clients too. So like on Wednesday, I'm working on a big bourbon and barbecue event.
I saw your post about that. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So a bunch of my bourbon clients are going to be there.
Yep.
For and like some really, swanky ones too, like Preservation, very, very swanky.
Oh, yeah.
But also Duck Club, which is new, and the country folks are going to love that. So those things. And then after I got the Jeep, while I was in the Carolinas, I got an email from the influencer platform. They're like, "Hey, if we invite you to Ad Week in New York, will you go?" I was like, "Yeah, of course." And then I got home, got the Jeep, and they're like, "Yeah, it's in like 4 days." I was like,
yeah, that's a big turnaround.
Yeah, which is why I asked you, like, "Hey, are you around?" Because I got to go to New York for Ad Week.
Yeah, that's right. I wish that would have worked out. Oh my God, wait, we're gonna make it happen. Like, it will happen. You're gonna be on the boat. Eventually. It's definitely gonna happen. But I was like, oh, son of a bitch, I forget what I had going. This year has been so weird for me. Like, last year, I had a record low for like private events, so it was all residency work, which is great because I can kind of schedule around that stuff. It makes it hard to take time off though. 2026 and 27, different ball game. So like that, we're getting into like this year, like most of my months have a week like this week that we're in right now, which is just insane because I've got Huge corporate event for a company on Friday. Big trivia event, like 500 plus people, like crazy stuff. I've got a lot of loose ends I still need to tie up for like production and things for that, like video elements and stuff to tie together. I've got that going on, but that's easy. I've got a big wedding the next day where I'm officiating the ceremony. Outdoors, December, Massachusetts, 2:30 in the afternoon, going to be 29 degrees that day. It's going to be rough. I have the full reception that I'm DJing afterwards, and these locations are like about 40 minutes apart. But like the bride selected the location because the location for the ceremony, you can't have the reception there. It's like sort of like a monument, but her grandfather built it. So I'm cool. I totally get it. It's awesome. We're going to make it happen. And she's been a trivia regular of mine for like, Jesus, since like 2015. It's crazy.
Yeah, the huge.
Yeah, it's big. Like so this is a cool wedding to do. But yeah, I've just got like between that and then I've got game shows that I'm doing every single week this week and then one on Sunday. Oh, I forgot I'm working Sunday too. Crazy. It's just going to be.
It's never ending. It's always like end over end. Like it's because I didn't just in the Starburst campaign, like I didn't just forsake my, my regular clients like Jameson and Tito's and the whole Bacardi portfolio, Molson Coors, like all of that stuff. Like I didn't just ditch on them. I'm kind of doing both at the same time.
It's a lot to juggle too, It really is.
It is. It's a lot.
That's so.
But doing advertising week, although it was like definitely a run and gun, it was so worth it. I had so much fun. I think everyone should go to Ad Week. That's like in the business. It's great. And I met lots of other influencers that like I follow, but I didn't know them in person.
Yeah.
So that was like a fun thing. And then at the end, I had to go, back to LA to go do the sentencing hearing, which was, nuts in itself.
Sure.
But
yeah.
A lot of shuffling. And then November, like it was kind of a blur, honestly, but you would think that like, oh, the end of the year's coming, like things are winding down. They're not. I'm doing the Jingle Bell Croc at the St. Augustine Alligator Farm on Friday.
Oh, really? Starburst. Okay, nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty freaking cool. Jingle Bell Croc.
Yeah. Yeah, the Jingle Bell Croc.
That's great, dude. Go ahead.
I loved doing the zoo and the alligator functions in the evening.
Yep.
Because most of those animals are nocturnal. So they're like, hey.
They're more active. Yeah.
They're awake, yeah.
If you do like a morning sesh, it's just like a bunch of like sleeping beasts and you're just like, well, this is wild. That's pretty cool though. How was Montana? I saw the content you put out from there and it was like number one, just the views were like breathtaking, but like
phenomenal.
Was that your first like fly fishing endeavor?
Yeah. So I got a friend that I made a movie with many, many years ago. Like we've been friends forever. And he is your quintessential ultra eccentric millionaire.
Oh yeah.
So
that's
he's
awesome.
got he got himself like matching hyperbaric chambers custom made for like his house in Montana and his house in Texas. Like he's a very interesting dude.
Really? Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Back when he worked, like in the 90s or whatever.
Yep.
He was an inventor, but like on the tech side. So all of these little doodads and things, that's his lane. That's his jam.
Gotcha.
And Chuck the Fly Guy, who was, Montana fly fishing legend, was like, yes, like come, I'll teach you in my backyard. Just like he teaches everybody to like come to the fly shop. I was like, oh my God, phenomenal, amazing. But it was the views in like Missoula, Hamilton. That's where they shoot Yellowstone. That's where the Yellowstone Ranch is. Yep. And it is stunningly beautiful. But I saw the biggest bachelor herd of elk that I didn't even know possible. Like it was like 25 absolutely massive studs. And that was after like I was like going down the way, done fishing. And I see an 8-point mule deer, a 10-point mule deer, and then another 8-point after them. And I was like, oh my gosh, what a bunch of great racks. How fantastic. Thinking that was a great evening.
Of course.
And then turn the corner in the rain. And here's just this massive bachelor herd of just huge elk, just vibing, just partying together, having a great time.
That's insane.
Incredible.
Like just to walk and stumble on that is crazy. And you did a catch and cook up there too.
The which one?
You did a catch and cook up there too, didn't you?
I did. I do that for like, not as like the cooking part, but I do fillet live pretty often.
Yeah.
So Yeah, but I caved. Admittedly, I caved and I went back to a spinning reel because I'm like, I need a trout like now, like today. Like,
You
I'm
got to do
tired
what
of
you
this
got to
shit.
do. Sure, exactly. Fair enough.
Yeah, so my rainbow trout like that on a spinning reel.
That's
But
awesome.
I ended up getting like not falling, but like sliding into the pond feet first
Yep.
from this fish.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that was the level of like desperate for a trout I was. And like,
Oh, yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
wrangle it out of here. I don't give a shit anymore.
You got to do what you
and I
got
had
to do.
to wash my shoes before I went to the airport because I'm like, I can't go home in wet shoes.
Oh, no.
Not in first class. It's not allowed.
No.
But yeah, Montana was so amazing. I now have a year-long fishing license to there. Like I will be back.
Oh, hell yeah.
For sure.
That's awesome.
For sure. It was fantastic. And then where else was I? I feel like I've just been so many places. I'm blanking on where I was. But on Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Talk about November crazy. So on Thanksgiving, I had a function up at the Omni for a different brand in Fernandina. And anytime I get like, hey, can you go work on this thing at this 5-star property? Yes, I can. I'll be there and I'll eat their food.
Of course.
So I was on my way back, and that section of islands between Fernandina and Jacksonville is called the North Florida Keys. So because it's lots of like bridges and marshes and blah, blah, blah.
Gotcha.
So I see FWC out on this stretch where there's like a kayaking place, but a lot of people fish right there, like in the grass. And I was like, I want to stop and give him some starburst. So I did. And he's like, oh, I have this 19-inch redfish. Do you want it? I was like, of course.
That's
I
right.
want it.
Yeah, I saw that. How crazy is that?
Yeah, it was so fantastic. And like we made a video together. And but yeah, he's like a local fishing icon. But that trout would not die. So he's like, oh, do you have a cooler? And I was like, no, I got a Modelo bucket because I always have beer buckets, always.
Yeah.
Because I do a ton of work for Constellation. So I put the thing in a Modelo bucket and put it down in the floor of the Jeep. And I was like, okay, well, by the time I get home, it'll be dead. It wasn't dead.
Nope.
It wasn't even sort of dead.
Nope.
It was very much alive. And I iced it in the kitchen sink because I had another function to be at. And I was like, all right, well, you better die because it's in the ice, just flipping and flapping.
Oh
like you need to stop that right now. Like enough of this survival shit. Like it's over. So I texted my roommate and I was like, hey,
keep an eye on my fish.
I gotta go. I have another function to work at, but there may or may not be an immortal redfish in the sink. Just ignore it. I'll deal with it when I get home.
My goodness. I'm surprised. Yeah. I'm surprised you don't bleed your fish right away.
That wasn't really an option. Like on the boat. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
For sure.
Fair enough.
But he had taken it off. He had it on a stringer. Like it was just.
Out. I got you. I'm surprised he didn't bleed a fish, but I get it.
Yeah. But the FWC had just checked it.
Yeah.
So I think I just ended up in this weird.
Like the timing didn't line up. Yeah. That makes sense. I could definitely.
But I thought for sure it would die on the drive home, but no dice.
Damn. Well, I mean, that's not a bad. I didn't realize that you could catch reds up that far.
Reds go all the way to definitely the Carolinas for sure.
No shit. Okay, good to know because that's one of my like bucket list fish. Like, I love the idea specifically. Like, I've seen some content where folks they'll use like small paddle tail swim baits, which is like a wicked confidence bait for me, and like they're so shallow, and like you throw a drone up and you can like see the hole, eat everything. It's so cool. So unbelievably cool. Which plays into, like, I have this thing I'm toying with right now. I talked about it when we recorded this last episode number 300. But I have this, like, this vision or this goal that keeps coming up over and over. I get a couple of stumbling blocks. I want to bring jigs and bigs on the road. Like I want to go and do a tour. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? I have a couple of things that I can lean into, obviously, to make it like an event. It's so tough because I have to take time off, but I genuinely think I could sell tickets to these events and get enough people there to make it worthwhile for me to take the time off so I could compensate the loss that I'm taking to do it. So initially I was kind of brainstorming ideas. My goal has always been to go like East Coast to West Coast or reverse it, go all the way West Coast and then work my way back east. It's just not in the cards right now. So I'm gonna do a little practice run in like the Northeast. I figure I'm gonna find fishy communities. So like I'll do one local just to have one local. We'll do fishy trivia. I'll record a small segment where I kind of do like a monologue or something for like 10 minutes, or I'll do some crowd work with whoever's there. And, you know, just kind of take that content and then incorporate it into other episodes, or maybe it'll be video content on its own for the YouTube channel, something like that. And then, you know, obviously partner with like local tackle shops or different brands for some prizes for the winners of trivia, things like that, kind of like build this thing out. What I'm thinking I'm going to do is this spring, I'm going to focus on the Northeast. So the Vermont side of Champlain, St. Lawrence River, Winnipesaukee in New Hampshire. I mean, even realistically, I could go a little bit further down south and do something like Hopticong in New Jersey or something along those lines. And just kind of get out there, do a handful of dates around here to kind of build it up and get some confidence. My goal is not next winter, the Gulf. Start in Florida, go to Houston.
I think you could do like a road trip down the Eastern Seaboard and then
100%.
like flip it back.
Yep. That was initially my thought, was to do it that way. But I'm like, it's just the climate for today, because like every single stop is going to be at least 2 days. You know, 1 day for the event, and then I'm gonna obviously network and fish and build content that way. So there's gonna be at least that, plus a day to travel in between. And I figure if I'm driving, like, when it comes to especially hauling the boat, like I've done 12 hours at a clip. I'm okay with it. You know, I'm like, whatever it takes, I'm going to get it done. And I have my rig so I can camp along the way if I need to, you know, and once I get into that spot. But yeah, that would be the ideal, like just right down the Eastern Seaboard, bang, all the way down. I probably would start in Florida.
I feel like you could maybe do a thing with like Coastal Angler magazine and do like the full coverage, because each one of those editions is like a specific, you know, it's like its own entity, but you could like hop between. And I think that would definitely be a good like framework for it. But as the purveyor of good times, we could always throw several functions.
That's what I'm saying. Like we could do something like that. I think that would be amazing. So that's kind of my goal eventually, because we do have this odd West Coast community that digs jigs and bigs. And as like, we are so unapologetically New Englanders, I don't know why they love us out there. I don't know what, I know that there's some Sox fans that are out there, so maybe that's the connection. But I'm like, man, there's just something about the West Coast, and we'll get there eventually, you know?
The West Coast just doesn't get the content spotlight like the East Coast does.
It
like,
doesn't, yeah.
Because I, kind of unofficially moved to LA when I was 19. I was on a business trip and I just stayed one day.
Yep.
But like, I had to relearn not just how to like, I knew how to saltwater fish from, coming to Florida and things like that, but I didn't know how to West Coast fish. That's a completely different animal.
Oh yeah.
And if it wasn't for like one episode of Blair Wiggins, where he was like calico bass fishing, and just like surfing around, YouTube and stuff. And then like my friend Dan Hernandez, like that's how I became friends with Dan, because he was the only person with a West Coast fishing show. Yeah. And I was like, well, he's got to go put up with me now. And he still puts up with me all these years later.
See, that says a lot. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's just no West Coast fishing people, like, other than Dan. That's it.
Yeah. And you've got some, that I think there's little niches that get a little bit more spotlight. Like, that West Coast anglers, especially bass anglers, like typically everybody's like, oh, everybody's throwing giant swim baits out there and everything. There's finesse fishing out that way, 100%. Like, it's a spectrum,
and you got to finesse your way between the snakes too, like Lake Kachuma that way, loaded with snakes. We don't have those problems on the East Coast, not really, you know.
There's a couple of small spots around here that, like, when I was exclusively kayak fishing, I'm like, nope. But we also don't have some of those other issues. Like, I'm like, I want to go and do the Gulf, but I know once I get into that area, everywhere I go, there's the possibility of there being gators. And I'm like, you know, again, this is why I'm glad I've got my boat. Because now I'm like, I see these videos of people in kayaks and I'm like, don't get me wrong, I love kayak fishing. But I'm like, being that close to that nature, I don't know about that. I don't know if
I love it so much.
Yeah, because you've had some run-ins before, haven't you?
Oh yeah, all the time. I love alligators, man. Like the small ones.
Yeah.
They're like puppies. They don't know any better. So especially bass fishing, as soon as you throw a surface bait, those two little eyes come up and they're like, attention, and they come right to the boat.
Yeah.
They don't know any better. And this, you know, being a baby, they get to make a bunch of noise, and like their parents, especially for the crocodiles, their parents stay around for a hot second, and then they kind of dissipate out, you know, through the whatever they can hide in.
Mm-hmm.
But until they're a good 3 feet long, they have to specialize. They're bored out of their minds because they don't really eat that much. You know, they can eat like frogs, and when they're real small, they eat bugs and stuff like that. But that time from a baby getting pushed away from the parents to about 3 feet, they're bored out of their skulls.
Yeah. So
and they are a social animal. So like they don't know any better that like attention from humans is probably not the best thing.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So the babies will come up to you and they'll head sweep and like they just want to hang around.
So crazy. I was just watching a video today, and I don't know where in the world this was. This was a croc, and this guy had this catfish on, and I mean, I don't know why, but he was like laying across like the bow of the boat, like reaching down to like handle and land this catfish. And
wow.
Like, it was the biggest bro get a net moment, because this, what must have been like an 18, 20 foot croc came up and grabbed that fish and you heard the reel go, woo, the drag. It was ridiculous. I'm like, you got to know better than that. Or you're just like, hey, you know what would make a really good viral video? That's sometimes I think about that. I'm like, are you guys really
nearly getting eaten?
My God, I couldn't imagine. Because you see it come. I'm going to send it to you. I'll send it to you. It is ridiculous.
Yeah, well, they're just waiting. Most of the time, they're pretty bored. They don't have anything to do. But the big ones really don't care. I would say like the 4 to 6, 7 feet. Those are the ones that'll really come to the boat, and they're like, they are after your fish.
Yeah.
They're still not painfully quick, but that's the size that they're really gunning for you to get a fish, much like a sea lion on the West Coast. Like they're just waiting for you to get that fish so they can snatch it. But the real big ones, like 9 feet plus, they're busy sunning themselves and like they've run out of fucks to give.
Yeah,
so like even if you go right up to them, they don't care.
Real? Okay. That's good to know. I mean, I don't know that I'm going to test that theory, but if I ever find myself in that situation, that's good to know. It's just so crazy having that, like, as soon as I got my boat, I was just like, oh yeah, I could splash this into some sketchy shit. You know, I 100%, I feel much better about that than like sitting right next to a car like, oh, hey, how you doing? You know?
Yeah.
It's nuts. So what do you got planned like for 2026? Anything on the radar as far as like fishing, like specifically?
I think I'm going to make a run for the Keys in the Starburst Jeep in January.
Sweet. Yeah.
I think we're going to Starburst on the road a little bit, even more than I already do.
Yep. I think that's awesome. My parents love the Keys. They're all like, you got to go. And I'm like, it's one of those places where people go and they don't come back because they just like, it gets their hooks in them, pun intended, and they just never leave. Same thing will happen in like parts of like Colorado and Hawaii. Same thing. People get there and they're like, yeah, I'm not going back. You know, this is my life now.
That's how my family ended up in Hawaii. I've had a family on the Big Island. I think right around the time that it became a state. Oh, okay. And they just pulled up one day and they're like, you know, we can be hibiscus farmers. Yeah. We can grow pineapples. We can do this. And they're still there. I
freaking love that. That's like the goal. Was it 2001? I went to Aspen, Colorado for the first time. And I'm like, all right, this place is pretty. So many people that I met were like, transplants, but they were just like, yeah, this is like, I have to live in the Rocky Mountains. Like, I just have to. And I totally understand that. I feel like like there's a part of that for me. Like I would love to buy a lake house now on St. Clair. You know, I do. I would. It's just big enough of a body of water for me to be like, I can sink some time into this and be happy, probably for the next 40 years of my life. You know, if I'm lucky to make it that long, that's the goal. But I don't know. And the chase is what I'm after.
My lake house is in a really remote part of northern Michigan, and it's on a smaller lake that immediately empties into Lake Michigan. And although it is a schlep to get there from anywhere that I've lived in the United States, like California, way big schlep, or even Florida's not as bad, but like even if I fly to Detroit, it's still like a 5-6 hour drive.
Oh, really? That far up? No shit.
Yeah, it's a long way. So short of getting a pilot's license, like this just doesn't get any shorter,
sense.
You know?
Yeah.
But I don't think I would ever get tired of it. But I just like being in so many different places all the time. And when I see like my friends posting like in the UAE, I'm like, I miss being in Dubai. I miss, I miss that, or, other places, in the Caribbean, like other places around the world. So I don't think I can commit to one spot.
No,
not permanently anyway.
I could get that. I for sure. And I think that like there's just a part of you that's got like this the chase. You know what I mean? You want to mix it up. Variety is the spice of life.
It is.
Right?
It absolutely is. And I really like, and I feel this way like in other genres, I guess you could say, not just fishing, but I really like to go see how people do things in that locale.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. Like the second you mentioned like California West Coast fishing, it totally makes sense because there's just like a different way of doing things, or even going fresh to salt, or you go and you target different species. Like crappie fishing is a whole other ball of wax. You know,
completely different.
Yeah. Trout fishing is a whole other ball of wax. Although what's cool about fishing is that you really can smudge the lines a little bit. You really can. Like, I love that. You know, you can, like, I like power fishing for trout. I do. You know, with bait finesse gear, like moving baits, having them chase, like they hunt so cool in the crystal clear water, especially when you can see every single thing. It's the best entertainment possible. But that's not really what people think of in the immediate, when they're like, oh, we're going to go and target trout. Most people are thinking either we're going to go drown a worm, we're going to go throw some flies, something like that. But that's the beauty of it. You can, you can make it your own. I always say it's one part science, one part art.
Oh, for sure. And then the kid next to you is killing it on a Barbie pole.
Of course.
Just making it up.
Yep.
Just making it up as they go. No intentions whatsoever.
Yep. Freaking nuts. Awesome. Oh, man. So do you have any questions for me? Anything you want to throw my way? I've been yammering on and on and on, but go. What do you have?
Yes.
Or you
we love the Bobby roast beef yaps. That's what it's for.
That's what people tune in for.
Right? They're out here for the yaps. But I want to know, what do you think is the most like either overrated thing or thing that like fishing thing that people like they're just pretending to like it. They can't possibly like it. They're just pretending.
They're just pretending to like it. Oh man. Immediately like I want to say like forward facing sonar. I really do. The problem is that I have such limited experience with it that I'm like, I'm going to piss some people off. Kayak fishing.
Oh, really?
I am. Yeah, I am 100%. And the thing is this, is that I feel like, don't get me wrong. I love fishing from a kayak. I genuinely do. But if you limit yourself, right, to that one vessel for one, you are missing an opportunity. You know what I mean? Even if it's fishing from somebody else's boat, or go the other way, take the challenge of bank fishing, urban bank fishing. You know what I mean? Like really fuck it up. I just feel like I've met too many people who will, they get into a kayak and then like, that's it.
They've peaked.
They've hit it. That's it. They might, in fact, they might even go and change up their kayak every single year. They might, and I get the appeal.
Oh, wow.
I do understand. There are some folks out there, and I'm talking, this is more in like the creator space where you'll see folks that'll say like, so this is the project. And for some people, that's what it's all about. I'll tell you one thing that I think is way underrated is that tiny boat nation stuff. Like taking a small boat and truly customizing it where, and the reason why I say that is there's one monumental thing that you cannot do in a kayak that you can do in a boat that I think to me is the most special thing about fishing. Fish with somebody else.
That part.
You can't
I
do
was
it.
kayaking in Goodby Creek, I don't know, like a week ago or something. Yep. It's right where the only Hooters with the dock is, my people.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And these guys are like paddling out together, and then they made it to where that creek empties into the St. Johns River.
Yep.
So they're right where stuff's moving. And they're like doing all of these things to like try to like keep track of each other.
Yep.
And it's really, really difficult. It's hard.
It is wicked
to
hard.
fish with somebody else on a kayak.
Yeah. You gotta, it's its own type of communal fishing. You're each in a kayak, and like, so you're either right on top of one another the whole time and like having to maneuver. Sometimes it's totally unspoken. I've been out with people where that's where it's been. We haven't had a conversation about like where we're going to, position these boats or anything like that. There is the benefit of being like, hey, you want to fish this big grassy flat? I'm going to go and fish this ledge over here. And you can go ahead and do that. There are pros and cons. Like, I'm totally not saying that it's like that it's terrible or anything, but I feel like there's a lot of people that, they're like, oh yeah, I don't need a boat. Like, why would I need a boat? I'm like, number one, like you can get into a boat. Like there is obviously
what people are spending on really, really nice kayaks. There is overlap to flats boats.
Yes, exactly. Like there are, depending on the fishing that you're looking at. I think a lot of people think, especially in the bass fishing world, there's a major gap there. Like you're talking about taking the highest price point of fully rigged out fishing kayak, which is about, I'm not talking about like, motors necessarily or anything, but you're talking about well over $5,000 or $6,000, for some of those boats. You get into the hull itself, all the accessories, all of the battery that you'll need to use it, any of the electronics. It adds up super quick, let alone the tackle, because that's universal. That goes everywhere. But then you're like, okay, so what am I looking at for a boat? Like it changes so much because if you're getting into a new boat, you're dropping over double that, But again, what you're getting for it is you're getting the flexibility of being able to take your kids out all the time and do X, Y, and Z. I just feel like
in the weather constraints.
Yeah.
I love kayaking. I've been kayaking since I was 10 years old, and my dad got me like an inflatable one off of a clearance rack, and I was like, this is fun. We now have about 10 or 11 kayaks at the lake house. Mm-hmm. Like it just exploded.
Yeah.
Absolutely exploded. I love this shit. Don't get it twisted, but you are limited, especially from a saltwater perspective, on like what you can do weather-wise. Yep. And, $5,000 for a kayak or a used Carolina skiff with an Evinrude on it, I'm going to be over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where I'll be.
And I mean, even when you look at like the freshwater situation specifically, like your season is a little bit different, I mean, you've got a lot more of, I'd like to say that there's like, obviously like safety concerns with like people on the water, but that goes for whatever you're in. Like there can be a moron on a wake boat that's going to take you out. Like that's not even really part of the conversation. But like, it's like if you're fishing in environments that get colder, you've got to pay attention to that, and like your season is going to be a little bit shorter. The last time I was out in the boat, when was it? Just a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it was. It was just a couple weeks. You know what it was? It was the day before Thanksgiving. And that was great. I could take my boat out to the Cape right now. There's no ice out there. There's ice here. It sucks. I also have 8 inches of snow in my boat because I don't know how to plan properly. And I'm a piece of shit. God. Yeah. I gambled and lost, Rachel. I gambled and lost. Yeah. I was like, this storm is.
Yeah, you gambled hard on that one.
Yeah, I failed.
It was bad. So I got to handle that. And you know, we'll get there. But it's one of those things you can go and you can do this. But I think for me, like, it's just like kayak fishing is awesome. And I get it. It's a low barrier of entry to get into, to get off the bank, run with that. But if you've got kids and you've got friends that are into this, you know, if you're buying a huge, I mean, you could have the perfect vehicle, like a pickup or something to throw a kayak in and go. But like when you're fully rigging out a lot of these boats, these aren't run and gun type boats. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, no, certainly not.
A lot of them, like they're not, but at the same time, a small 16-foot boat, you know, even a V-hull, you know, it's light to tow, you know, it's super easy to launch. You'd be out on the water with your buddies.
Oh, great. When I was a really small kid, my dad had a bluefin. I think it was like a 14-foot bluefin, and we took that everywhere. And on the rare occasion that I see one going down the road, I'm like, my heart.
Yeah.
Like, yep. I'm so happy to see it.
Do they even make those anymore?
After that, he won a Starcraft at a boat show, but we ended up selling that one because he had this kooky friend, Dave, that was one of those guys that like took up a new hobby every 3 weeks and then decided he didn't want it. And he had a beautiful 16-foot Lund that was like brand new.
That's what I got.
Then my dad's like, I got to have it.
Yeah.
I got it. And I'm so glad that he did because we took that thing all over too. But yeah, those things are super easy to move. If I can tow a trailer across America with a convertible Fiat, most of you can tow a V-hull.
Oh,
or
yeah.
Carolina skiff.
100%. That's what I've got. I've got a 16-foot Lund. I love it. It's super easy to lug around. It's going to last forever. Although I put it through some shit. But still, you know, it's like, there's a lot you can, and again, like, I think that I'm not saying like, I'm done with kayak fishing.
Bobby Roast Beef hates kayak fishing.
No, the best way to get the best of everything is to do
both.
Have a kayak, you know, it doesn't have to be fully rigged out or whatever, but go and enjoy that. Go and do that. But then, like, you know, don't write up. There are different things, you know, and I feel like there's too many people that are just like, kayaks are superior. And it's like, they're great, but they're different they're different games, you know?
Oh, completely different games. And like, I'm not like a fully rigged kayak person. My current kayak is an origami one, like it folds up because I have a convertible Fiat most of the time. But like, I can put a rod holder on it, but I can also stand on it because it doubles as a paddleboard.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize that.
Where I currently live, it's all dark water around here. There's no such thing as sight fishing. That's not a thing. Unless you're seeing like the dolphins, like on a bait ball or like bonita or like something, birds diving and like hitting the surface. Like that's the only sight fishing we've got around here. And then the St. Johns River is chock full of tannin. So it's like the color of iced tea, even at the bank. Like it's very, very dark. Yeah. So sight fishing isn't really a thing here, but when I go to the springs and stuff like that, then I can see down, and that's like a great place to stand up.
Definitely.
But despite my love of things, I'm like a real minimalist in that way because I just don't like lugging a bunch of shit around. Like I just don't.
Yeah. Yeah, you make a choice, like I'm going to bring this rod or two and a handful of lures that I need, and when that doesn't work, then we're just done, and it makes life easy.
Then we're just done.
I have a really good quick story about one of those origami like folding kayaks. So this is crazy. I was there's this river that I like fishing, trout fishing around here. That is just absolutely awesome. And this was like early December, a few years ago, and I was out and I was just doing some trout fishing, trying to catch some trout, and I'm kind of going around, and it was fucking cold, and I was hitting the fish whistle hard, so I was like ripped, and I'm sitting there casting an inline spinner around, and like nothing's going on. I hear a voice, I hear something behind me, like a car had pulled up, and there's somebody doing some loading and stuff, and I'm like, all right, I can't feel my fingertips. I'm like, it's time we're going to go grab a coffee, call it a day, and then we'll try this again another day. So I'm on my way back toward like the parking area, and I come walking around and I see this little like Honda Element, right? And I hear somebody go like, hey bud, can you do me a favor and help me out? And I was like, yeah, I'm not an asshole. I'm like, yeah, sure, of course. He goes, can you move my kayak for me down to the launch?
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, all right, I guess that's fine. I'm like, So I go over and I see this kayak and I'm like, it's one of these, and it's all folded, unfolded and ready to go. And it's one of these. I was like, oh, I've never seen one of these up close. This is cool. And I was like, all right. So I drag it down to the water and I see him come around. Dude had no legs. He had no legs. You had a Lieutenant
Dan situation.
Yeah, it was a Lieutenant Dan scenario, 100%. Lieutenant Dan.
He didn't have legs, but he had sea legs, and that's what matters.
That's what matters. This guy was going out fishing for pike. By the way, there's no pike in this river. But we had a conversation about some of their areas, like where he goes and he fishes. And he fly fishes for pike with like these freaking flies that look like coontails. Like they're
gigantic. They're huge.
Yeah, I'm like,
they're huge.
I'm like, are you kidding me? So he's like, yeah. He's like, we're going to go send it. I was like, well, good. Be safe, man. For real. Like, be freaking safe. And I'm like, this is unbelievable. I felt like such a piece of shit because the whole time I'm dragging, I'm like,
dude can't even bring his fucking kayak down to the launch. What the fuck?
I'm talking all this shit. And I'm like, oh, all right. Fair enough. Lieutenant Dan, ice cream.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to get a very angry email. Somebody's going to be like, you are very insensitive, Mr. Roast Beef. Oh, I'm just calling myself.
Funny, though. I don't care who you are. Those kinds of things happen. But when I was in North Carolina fly fishing, Austin, my guide from Tubular Tubing, he fly fishes for pike and muskie with those giant, huge things. And it never even crossed my mind, but it is true. Like both pike and muskie are occasional topwater feeders because they'll snatch a baby duck or a frog or any of those things. So because they got those eyes that be lurking,
and they're super opportunistic. Like there's something there, and they're gonna take a swipe at it. I do have a goal this year. Like I've never caught a pike. I've never caught a muskie. Period. But I've never caught a pike.
I've never caught muskie either.
That is 100%. I'm actually talking with one of our good friends of the show. We call him the Canadian koala. Great dude, Nick. We love you. And I'm telling him like because I don't have a trip this year that's on the calendar. Like that's like the big one. Last year it was St. Clair. That was a big one. And it was nice because it was like that beacon of light as we're in winter. I could look forward to. This year I don't have that. And I've been telling him, I'm like, I want to do some Canadian fishing, man. Like I'd love to go and do the trifecta, or really include smallmouth too. But focus on like, and just go into some real remote setting. The type of place where like I've got to use those boat conveyors to go like from one lake to the other.
Yes.
Totally be into that. And he's like, yeah, we could definitely do that. But I think he's thinking like we got to fly in. Like I think that, and I'm like, bro, I got to get the boat in there. Like I'd like to use my boat to keep that cost down to make that, you know what I'm saying? Because like, that could be wild. But I got to talk to him about it. But I've never caught a muskie. I've only caught northern pike. Like I actually think my chain pickerel is larger than the largest pike I've ever caught. So my largest chain pickerel is 27 inches, but my largest northern is probably about 2022, something like that. Not terrible, but I want to break that 40-inch line. And
that's the dream.
That's what I'm looking at. I've had them on. I've just never been able to land them. Like I've had them like at the kayak. I had one that was, at least 35, but just thicky. You know what I'm saying? Just enormous. And it was like I was targeting them with like flashy stuff that I thought was going to work. I caught one and I entered it in the tournament I was in, this online tournament. And I was throwing around a finesse swim bait previously, and I had a big smallie come up. I needed one of those for the tournament too. This is the scavenger hunt that we do, the freshwater scavenger hunt. So I come up with that, and I'm like, so I got my pike. I'm like, okay, whatever. We'll go. Maybe we'll downsize a little bit, see if we can pick off that another smallmouth. So I go out to this area that we're kind of like up on this one ledge, and I have a small finesse jig that I'm throwing, and I just get smacked. And this fish had me on for what felt like 10 minutes, just like running into the grass, trying to break me off, nothing.
Just freaking out.
And this is like on a tiny spinning rod setup, like nothing crazy, super small finesse jig with like a high-tech trailer. And I get him up to the boat, and I'm like, I'm going to maneuver for the net. And I have this pike, absolutely enormous, like easily, like I said, probably 35-ish, maybe hit that 40 mark. I'm never going to know. So I'm sitting there, and I have him right there, and I grab my net, which is way too small for him. It's like a good size hoop, but it's still very, very small. I'm just hoping to get like him kind of in it so I can pedal. I'm almost in the middle of the lake right now. So I can just get to the bank and pull him up and do the measurement and everything else and then release him. I see the sun is shining down. You know how like when you get water on your line and it runs down and you get that little like sparkle that the sunlight hits it just right. I see this little droplet run down my line. It goes right up against his tooth. And I'm like, motherfucker. And as I'm thinking that, he just takes right off. With my nice Giltech finesse jig.
Yeah, of course he did. He took a parting gift.
Yeah, he did. Nice swag bag, little jerk. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I've had them like right there, and I'm like, you motherfucker. It's like I'm trying to be as prepared as I can. Like I'm upgrading my net. I'm getting a set of jaw spreaders. I've got the long pliers so that I can handle them, and that's kind of on my radar, But so far, it's just little slime darts for Bobby.
Same for me. Like, I've only caught pike by accident on 2 occasions, and that was it.
Yeah, it happens.
I really, really wanted a big one when I was ice fishing in Colorado last February.
God, that's nuts. Where you see people pull, like, through the tiniest holes in the ice, you see people pull these giant pike up, and you're like, that tail's not stopping. Like, it's just, what is happening? Yeah, that's insane. It's fucking bananas. Rachel, this was so good.
It was.
This was so good. I mean, I don't even give a shit if anybody likes or comments, but you guys should like and comment. And if you want to have Rachel on the show more often, let me know. I'd love to have her on. She's a great conversation.
Yeah, I have that never-ending lore, and we just like popped out that hour.
That's what I'm saying. We just riff back and forth, and it's a good thing. I think when I do this tour and I bring Jigs and Bigs on the road for fishing trivia and stuff, we have to have you there as a guest. 100%.
Of course. You have to come to Jacksonville and fish this part of the world.
Yes, 100%. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's for sure happening. I don't know, maybe. What's February look like? Because I don't have what's weird is January this year for Jigs and Bigs is really busy. Like episode 300, we're going to drop actually later tonight. I have to edit it today and drop it tonight. So episode 300, but we're having a party in Springfield and we're going to live stream that party too.
I saw that. I was like, do I have time to fly up there?
Dude, oh my God. So we have door prizes for the people who are in attendance, but we have a bunch of other prizes that we're doing big giveaways the whole night. Like we got some really, really good companies that we're working with. So like folks can tune into the live stream and the ticket that they purchase puts their name on the list for the giveaway. So it's basically like, you can watch the show, it'll be on YouTube, but like in order to win some prizes, like it's a $25 ticket, right? The door prizes we have a trip out with myself on my boat, a trip out with Joe on his boat. He's got the nice bougie boat, like 100K.
Yeah.
Like, ridiculous. And then we've got like this basket of stuff from all of our prize sponsors kind of putting a little stuff in there. So like we got Pig Jigs, we've got a Chegan, we've got Tiny's hand-tied jigs, we've got some Dark Horse tackle stuff in there as well. Dark Horse is our I guess our title sponsor in doing this, which is pretty awesome. And like it's going to be nuts. We do throw a really good party. I'm still working on some guests because I've got scheduling issues with some of them, but we go from that party is the 24th. And then the following week is the Columbus Fishing Expo and the New England Fishing Expo. So Joe and I are splitting off. Joe's doing the New England one. I'm heading to Ohio. But February, I don't have much happening over there. Maybe I should just fucking clear my calendar and take like a long weekend and go to Florida, go to Jacksonville and drag the boat down. Have time for all that snow to
have a little strike zone action and
not against that at all.
It's such a unique piece of water because of the St. Johns River, the intercoastal, and then also open ocean is all converged right here.
Oh yeah.
And it's a different, you can go all the way from freshwater brackish to like fully salt in the same run.
That's pretty fucking cool. I had my boat in the salt for the first time this year too.
Yeah. Oh, good. Did you flush
trip.
the engines? Please tell me you did.
Oh yeah. Well, in fact, it's funny. The next day I was smallmouth fishing. like the next day. So like, yeah, I was like, that's what we did. We went out for stripers on, what was it, like the Friday? And then on Saturday we went out for smallies. And I mean, we didn't catch a damn thing. Like either, like, it was just, we got on a bunch of like, what was it, sea robins and a bunch of scup while we were out there. It was a blast. We had a really good time. We camped. We did a little hip camp down there. This is with my friend Becca. Have you ever seen Becca's content? Becca Y? She's a new
Potentially.
Yeah, she just purchased a property up in Maine, and she's basically rebuilding a cabin that's on that property. Becca is awesome. Like, she's a homie. She's absolutely, like, just absolute awesome. And we had a blast, but you know, she was like, we got on the boat. She's like, "Where's your squid knife?" And I'm like, "What's that?" I'm like, "I don't, on this boat? No." And so I was like, I have this knife that I use as like for when I need a knife or something. I'm like, it's officially the squid knife now because it smells terribly, you know?
Yeah.
It does. It's got one job now.
It's just how it is. And that's okay.
How it is. It is 100%. Rachel, this is absolutely awesome. We're definitely going to have to do this again. I appreciate you. Thanks for being part of the show.
For sure. Awesome. Of course. Thank you for having me.
I love it. You want to go ahead and tease anything you have going on or let people know where they can find you? Check out your live streams.
Yes. So my Instagram for fishing is at Adventure Titties, obviously. But because I have so many personalities and only one body, my main account is Rachel Ann Mullins, and that's where you'll find me starbursting around or out with Patron or Tito's or whatever other harebrained ideas I come up with, fighting crime, stuff like that.
That's amazing.
Yes.
What an amazing story. Good stuff, Rachel. We'll keep in touch. I'm going to play around with this idea for February and see what we can put together. I think it'd be pretty badass.
Definitely.
I love it. You have a good one. All right. Take care.
You too. See you later.
All right. Bye-bye.